Welcome back to another episode of Living with Audacity. It is me, your host, Aisha. And as always, I am so excited to be here with me and my new purple fedora. Listen, I'm going to tell you what the topic is. But you need to know that when I come into this space, I come into this space wanting to not just speak, but to also give. And give in the sense of what the vibe is going to be. So be prepared for some top tier fedoras, starting with this one. Big up to Amazon. But I just wanted to share that with all of you. But today we are talking about building your audacious community. Why I feel this is important, and I think I've shared this in other episodes. The truth is, the way in which we show up, how we elevate, how we grow, how we inspire, the impact that we make doesn't happen in isolation. Yes, we are making effort every single day, making sacrifices, putting in that work. But the truth is, it is our community of people that are around us that motivate us, that sometimes are the quiet, maybe sometimes loud, depending on who's in your corner. Um, People that are telling you, like, keep going. What you're doing is amazing. You're making an impact. I'm learning from the things that you're sharing. But what does that look like? What does it mean to build an audacious community? And part of it is wanting to make sure that we have like minded people, right? We want people not necessarily that are like us, because it is important to have a diverse circle of people, but you want people that are kind of operating with the same mindset that you are, right? So that they can continue to show up and empower you to be the great person that you are. But what does it mean? What does it mean to, again, build your audacious community? And so today we're really going to explore, how do we really ensure that we're surrounding ourselves with like-minded, purpose-driven people who can amplify your audacity. Now, remember my first show, I wanted to get really clear about what audacity meant, right? Audacity wasn't like in a negative way, but audacity was to have the ability to show up in your power, in your purpose, and not feel like you needed to dim your light. And the facts are, you need people in your life that, you ever seen those TikTok videos where you're in the dark and then you have the people behind you that are shining the light? This is what I'm talking about, right? Who is in your corner shining that light on you? Sometimes in those moments where you're self-doubting, where it could be a little bit dark, where your light is dim. Who are those people? So how do we start to build our audacious community? I want to always take a moment to say thank you to my community, because I will tell you that I am blessed with incredible people in my life that shine a light on me, even when I'm not seeking light to be put on me. And that hasn't happened by accident. That has happened with intention. It has happened on purpose. I've had to remove people from my circle because it wasn't that they weren't shining a light on me. It just, we weren't in alignment, right? So those things can happen. So how do we do that? How do we start to create an audacious community? So we're going to talk about it. Also, if you have a way in which you have created your audacious community, share it, right? Because I know you're a subscriber. And if you're not, you know what you need to do. Like, comment, share, do all the things. But I want you to share in the comments, like, what have you done in your time? How have you built your audacious community? First and foremost, what we want to do is create a circle of people who are also on their journey of personal growth, right? It is important to have mentors. It's important to have coaches. It's important to have people in your life where you are aspiring to not necessarily be them, but to emulate some of their great qualities. But what you also want are people who are also on their journey of personal growth. Now, your question might be why? Like, why do I want to be riding with somebody who's also on this journey of self discovery, self awareness, self actualization? I will tell you why. Because the individual that is on that journey is also deeply motivated in finding their purpose, in affirming who they are, in undoing and unlearning the people, places, and things that no longer serve them, and also seeking to create a space of people, places, and things that are looking to help them grow and evolve. That's what you want, right? When you're running a marathon, right? You don't want to be necessarily running against someone who's been doing this for, 25 years and literally can do 25 kilometers in 3 hours. I don't even know if that's a thing. I'm making that up. I don't even know if you could do 25 kilometers in 3 hours, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. What you want is someone who's on the journey of practicing and really trying to navigate themselves in this space and really trying to make a name for themselves. So part of building an audacious community is also surrounding yourself with people or a community of people who are also purpose driven, who are also looking to make a name for themselves, who are also looking to live with purpose and be committed to their craft, whatever that looks like. It doesn't have to be in the same field. I want to put that out there. You don't necessarily, I mean, I'm a certified coach. Doesn't mean that I have people in my circle that are all certified coaches. Absolutely not. I have a very diverse set of people, but what I have are people who are driven by their desire to show up, to live audaciously, to make an impact, to stay elevated, to bring something into the world, right? Those are the people that are in my community. So that's one of the first things, right? We know that it can be difficult. I think one of the things that I have learned in my own personal journey um, is that not everyone is in the same place, and that's cool, right? Like, not everyone is going to be on the same, like that same level, but what direction are they headed in? Right? That's ultimately what you're looking for when we're looking to create this audacious community, is that we really want people that are, as I said, like-minded, that are demonstrating the qualities and the mindset that's in alignment with us, right? So how do you find that? Right? You don't necessarily put an ad in the paper and say, "Hey, looking for an audacious community who wants to join me." Doesn't really happen that way. I mean, maybe you could in the way of social media. I feel like you could probably ask for anything. I don't know that there isn't anything that you can't put on social media and ask for. But how do you build your audacious community, right? One of the first things, and this comes back to the self, is getting clear about your vibe, getting clear about your direction, right? How do you want to feel? How do you want to feel in your community? So, as you may know, I do another podcast with my best friend, Stephanie, called Besties Spilling Tea from Time. And we talk about community. We talk about friendship. We talk about sisterhood. We talk about the people that are in your life that are just lighting that fire and wanting you to do better. Right? We understand that in order for us to continue to nurture this relationship, to build our community, that we need to understand what's the vibe. I want to feel good. I want to feel whole. I want to feel taken care of. I want to feel loved. I want to feel supported. So when I talk about get clear about your vibe, what are you looking for? What do you need your community to do for you? But in order to know how to build your community, you got to get clear about what's the vibe. Are you looking for a supportive network? Are you looking for a network of people just to love on you? Are you looking for people to hold you accountable? Are you looking for people to give you ideas, to motivate you? What are you looking for? What is it that you need in this audacious community that is going to make you feel good? Because remember, these are people that are in your corner, that in your tough times are going to be there to support you, and in your fabulous times or in your great times are going to be celebrating you. But you got to be meticulous, right? Not everybody deserves to be in your space. That's something that I talk about again when we talk about living with audacity. Not everybody's welcome into your space, right? You should see yourself as being one of privilege to be connected to you. Hopefully, you're a good person. But what does that mean, right? What's the vibe that you want to feel in this circle, right? So you really got to get clear about what you're becoming and who you want in that space to help you become, again, whatever it is that you're desiring. The next thing, which sometimes can be difficult, even as adults, is be the first to reach out. So I would say I'm in the middle, depending on maybe I guess my vibe or where I'm at. I might be one who approaches someone. If I meet someone who just lights up my life, I might be someone who's like, "Hey, um, I just want to, this kind of sounds corny, like, hey, do you want to be my friend? I don't mean it like that. But I mean, like, let's connect. Like, I see what you're doing online, or I see what's happening. I'm going to give you the prime example of the beautiful result of reaching out. This podcast, the studio that I'm in. I'm connected to an incredible woman, founder and owner of Perspective Studios, because I decided to put myself out there in another incredible group, Black Queens of Durham, and say, hey, is there anybody out there who knows someone who runs, who has a studio to do a podcast? Tons of people said, Shireen. Lo and behold, look where I am. Episode, I'm not even sure what this is, but I am here because I decided to reach out to someone who, in the beginning, it was kind of a exchange. Like, I will come into the studio, do a podcast. I will tell you the blessing of having to meet this woman and welcome her into my community, which I hope she's part of my community. I'm being pretty presumptuous that she's in my community, but I'm saying she's in my community because I want her in my community. But I say that to say, reaching out and putting yourself out there, and seeking people who you can see, who you can feel, who you've experienced, are like minded, are in that same space, can only serve to elevate you, right? I didn't know everything about podcasting. As a matter of fact, I knew nothing about podcasting. But I'm in this space because I decided to connect with someone who has created another platform for me to be my audacious self, to be able to share my message, to be able to just, again, spread a word that I hope you all find impactful, that empowers you to step out in your own world and in your own jobs and in your own workplace and in your own families to be the best version of yourself. But that would not have happened had I not reached out and not realized that I want to continue to build my audacious community so that I can continue to thrive, right? Another one, which is a big one, okay? It says to create your own table. So this is why I love this one. So I'm going to say one of the many lessons that I've learned in my life is getting comfortable with creating your own table. So, back in the day, there used to be this conversation like, oh, I want a seat at the table because it implied that you were now welcomed. Truth is, we're not always welcomed. And so I had to learn how to create my own table, right? How am I creating a space for other people to join my community, right? Maybe I'm the first one, the initiator of this audacious community, but I'm also creating a space where other like-minded people are like, hey, I want to be part of this community, right? Don't be afraid to start something, and feel like, and not be afraid that other people are not going to join you, right? I put myself out on a limb. I feel like I put myself out on a limb every time that I come into this podcast and put myself out there, right? But what I've realized is that there are more people seeking community than there are people who are not, right? So get comfortable with creating your own space and welcoming people into that space, right? That's what it means to build community, right? Community isn't built in one shot. It's actually built through evolution. It's built through our own self-discovery, through our own process of understanding who we are and what we need and where we're headed, right? So be comfortable in creating your own table. Be willing to be an initiator, right? I mean, think about entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is about putting yourself out there and starting and trying something until it becomes successful, right? So be prepared that in creating your audacious community, you might be loan member number one, and you might be a membership of one for a really long time. But believe me, as you continue to evolve and put yourself out there, there will be more people that come into your collective until you are surrounded by incredible people. You ever felt, or you ever been in a space where you've looked around and you thought to yourself, wow, I have so many incredible people in my space. I have felt that. I feel that today. It's something that I don't take for granted, right? And that there was a time where you were perhaps the lone ranger in your own club by yourself, membership of one, only for that membership to evolve and grow. So be okay, be prepared to create your own table, and welcome other people into that space, right? Another big one I would say, or I'd say the fourth part around creating this audacious community is also be willing to belong, right? I think sometimes when we feel like we're needing to belong, it means like we're subduing a part of ourselves, or that we are needing to let go of a part of our being. No, like we all want to belong. I don't want to be here out in isolation, just driving my own ship, right? I want a community. I want to feel like I belong. So be okay with that. It is okay to create your table, but it's also okay to kind of immerse yourself into a space and an environment, so long as you are not disrespecting, dishonoring, letting go of, or dimming your light in the name of being part of a community. It is okay to seek a place or community to belong to, right? That is absolutely all right, right? So now what are the things that we need to, like, how do we again put verbs in our actions? Because I'm all about it. I love to talk about how things need to be and how they need to feel, but I'm also a doer. Again, just doing a recent podcast with my bestie, we realized that I'm type A. I'm a doer. I like to make things happen on a continuum. I love the end outcome of seeing work being put in and the output of something being achieved, right? So I'm someone who likes to also give action steps. Like, what do you need to do? How are you going to make this community happen? And more so than that, how are you going to hold this community? right? Because it's one thing to build a community, is that it is another thing to hold a community, right? Because we shift, we change, people evolve, people have differences, so community doesn't always stay intact, as we know, right? We are part of our own respective communities, whether it's family or workplace, right? Things aren't always in alignment, right? Things don't always stay put, things change, right? So, how do we make sure that we're constantly curating a space where our audacious community is evolving and growing just like us, right? One of the first things is enter into this audacious community with a desire to inspire, right? And when I say inspire, I mean, I firmly believe, or one of the guiding principles for me as a coach and just as a human, is that when people leave an interaction with me, I want them to feel better than how they entered. I want people to feel inspired about doing better and feeling better and thinking better about themselves, right? If you are the lead in this audacious community, how are you inspiring others to do the same, right? That's a really powerful action step because that is how community is built. Community is built when people experience you and they experience you in a positive way, then they're like, oh my goodness, listen, if you do nothing else, you need to be part of this community. Because I'm telling you, you're going to feel good. You're going to feel motivated. You're going to feel committed. You're going to feel inspired, right? Enter into your audacious community with a commitment to inspiring others so that this community grows naturally, right? You don't want to force people like, oh my God, I come and join my club. And people are like, ugh, I suppose I will because I know I should know. I want you to be part of my community because you know that entrance into this space is going to have you feeling better than how you entered, right? So that's a really powerful one. Be in a place where you want to inspire others to do better for themselves, right? And again, don't overthink this. Like this doesn't ever. I don't know if anyone here. Look at me. I'm talking like as if I'm talking to an audience. But I watched Big Bang Theory, and there was an episode where Sheldon gave his roommates like a list of to dos. I think it was called like roommate rules, right? That says like you have to be this, you have to do this. In order to be part of his community, he had like I think it was I want to say like 100 different rules. That's not what you're doing. Okay, the development of your audacious community actually should happen organically, right? The same way friendships are built somewhat organically is the same way your community needs to be built organically. People need to flow into your space because of, we talked about the vibe, because of the energy, because of the purpose driven, because of the like mindedness, right? People will naturally come into your space because of what they're experiencing in your community. Right? People will also naturally leave your community because they're no longer in alignment, whether it's because of you or whether because they realize, I'm not operating with the same mindset, positive or negative, and so I don't belong here anymore. Right. So I say that to say, don't create these rules that says, oh, they need to be this, they need to have this year. This is not a job interview. Okay. You want people to be part of your community because of the way that they organically come into this space. Right. So that's a really big one. Another action step, another important part of building this audacious community is also being willing to learn. Okay. Nothing that we do in life, nothing that we achieve, as I said to you in the beginning, happens in isolation, right? I'm a certified health coach. I've done a lot of training. I have a lot of lived experience, but it by no means that I know everything. I'm constantly seeking opportunities to grow. I'm constantly seeking opportunities to hear an opposite perspective that is going to broaden my own perspective of how I show up as a coach, as a mother, as a wife, as all these hats that I wear. An audacious community is actually not meant to be linear. An audacious community is not meant to be homogeneous. It's meant to be diverse. It's meant to kind of push and pull at your own thoughts so that you are continuing to grow. You want people to kind of be the opposite of you. You want people to kind of, offer you a different perspective or a different way of thinking because that broadens your own mindset. It broadens how you show up as an entrepreneur or as a parent or as a caregiver or whatever hat you're wearing or whatever ideas you're generating, right? Seek diversity in this audacious community. I don't want everybody to be like me. I mean, I think I'm fabulous, but I don't want everybody to be like me. I want people to be different. I want people to almost push me, right? Again, lovingly. But I want people to test me. I want people to challenge me. This version of Aisha didn't come in this linear path where everybody said yes to me and agreed with everything that I did. Quite the opposite. I had people very close to me who were like, Aisha, are you sure? Aisha, I need you to think about this. Aisha, here's a different thought, right? Was it always something I wanted to receive? No. But did it help me? Absolutely. So in the building of your audacious community, don't seek homogeneity, seek diversity. And diversity in whatever way you receive diversity in, right? You don't want people to be like you. You want like-minded people. You want people to be purpose-driven. So there's some fundamental pieces around building your audacious community. Absolutely, right? Again, they need to be moving forward. But I don't want someone who thinks exactly like me. I don't want someone who's always going to tell me yes when they really should be telling me no, or telling me, Aisha, you need to pause, right? I want someone who's going to help me evolve and grow. That's what building an audacious community is. Because when we're stepping into our audacious self, again, right, we aren't just linear. We aren't just one dimensional, right? We aren't just on this straight path. Audacity means that we are ebbing and flowing, we're growing, we're changing. I feel like a rapper. I'm just moving from side to side, but it's this hat, guys. This hat has me feeling a type of way. But I say that, right, because again, when we're building audacity, when we're living with audacity, remember I say this all the time, we are affirmed in our purpose, we're affirmed in our power, we're affirmed in who we are. But it doesn't mean that we are closed off. It doesn't mean that we're in a space of perfection. Perfection does not exist. If you're in a state of perfection, then you're also in a state of denial. Let me just put that out there, because perfection don't exist. We want to be consistently seeking opportunities to grow and evolve. And you want to be in a space and in a circle and in a community who seek the same thing and who are willing, again, to lovingly push you. I say that as a coach. When people enter into my coaching practice, I always say, I am here to lovingly push you. And in some cases, some clients get kicked out of their comfort zone, right? Don't come to me if you're looking for a yes person. Don't come to me if you only want me to agree with you. Don't come to me if you're only seeking, like, again, the nod that okays the decisions or the things that you're doing that I know are a detriment to you. That's not living with audacity, and that's not being part of an audacious community. So be willing to be a little bit uncomfortable, because in that discomfort, as we've said, is where growth truly, truly happens, you know? And so I want you, again, as you're selecting or engaging or thinking about what this audacious community looks like, right? Again, make sure you're sticking with these guiding principles. There could be other things, and I would love for you to share, like, what are other aspects of a community that you're a part of, that you're seeking to build, that are really important to you? Are there some fundamental principles, fundamental values that need to be in this network of yours, so that, again, it shows that those that are part of it are in alignment? I would love to hear, right? There is no one right way, but it needs to be authentic to you, right? And what I mean by that, again, is don't create a community based on how it looks. We do that a lot. In the age of social media, we will align ourselves with the trend. We will align ourselves with people that we think will make us look better, right? Or sound better or appear better. Don't do that, because you know what's going to happen? It's going to break down. And we have seen when communities have broken down, it's disastrous. So stay true to your values. Have those minimal guiding principles and allow that to be what showcases itself when, again, building this community. And those who are meant for you will find their way. And maybe your community is small. That's something else that's so important to talk about. When we're younger, I'll speak for myself. When I was younger, I wanted all kinds of friends. I wanted a big group of friends, because for me, that was a reflection of who I was. It was a reflection of popularity. If I had 50, 60 friends, then obviously it meant that I was like a cool person. And while I still have a good number of friends, it is based on quality. The people that are in my life, listen, you want to talk about top tier, gold star quality? That's what exists in my life. And exists in my life because, again, my principles, my values, my beliefs, what community meant to me, what community means to me, has evolved from numbers and quantity to quality and sustenance. Is everybody the same? Not at all. I think if I were to pool together my whole friend group, people would be like, how are you friends with this person and friends with this person when they're so different? Yes, they are different outwardly, but they're fundamental principles. They're guiding light, their values. who they are at their core is actually in full alignment. So I am blessed to have a diverse community of people from different walks of life, ages, stages, genders, you name it. It is a beautiful microcosm that I feel is also a reflection of who I am as an individual, right? So be willing to just build this community organically. And that's why I said you don't want to cherry pick. You want to be able to allow the ebbs and flows and the organicness. I don't even know if that's a word. The organicness, we're going to say it's a word, of the development of your audacious community to be natural. Okay. And so again, when you find your people, you find your power, right? I wrote this down. You find your voice, your courage gets stronger, and your dreams feel closer. And the reason being is that because you're in this beautiful network of people that are behind the scenes, like, go Aisha, go Aisha, go Aisha. I mean, I have the friends that are out there in the streets, like, go Aisha, which is amazing. But that beautiful, quiet encouragement and power that just gives me that motivation to keep going, I am truly, truly grateful for. So when you hear me say things like, don't wait, okay? This audacious community, don't sit in him and haw like, am I ready? Should I? Should build your community. Okay, you've heard it today. I don't know when you're watching this podcast, but effective today, build your community. And if you're in a community and the community is not doing right by you, I'm going to lovingly tell you, leave the community, right? Obviously, easier said than done. I know it's not black and white, depending on what the community is. But if you are not feeling nurtured, if you're not feeling supported, if you're not feeling loved, if you're not allowed to be your audacious self, then this is not the community for you. You should never come into a space and be in a community where you are required to dim your light. Do you hear me? There should never be a moment in your development that you are required to dim your light so somebody else's light can shine. There is enough light in this world to be shared. So be mindful again of the community that you're part of. Okay. And I think for me, the last piece is again, as you're building this community, right? As you're building this community, stay committed to yourself. Because here's another part about community. Community, when we're in this space of feeling loved and feeling supported, we can sometimes lose our own self, lose our own drive in the name of the collective. Okay? That can happen, and I've seen it happen, and I have experienced that, right? In the name of the greater good, I got to kind of relinquish my light and now put it someplace else. And what I'm going to say to you is do not. Interestingly enough, when your light is shining bright, you are now covering that community as well. So be mindful again of how you're showing up in that community. You should not have to dismantle, dismiss, or dim any part of yourself to be a part of this audacious community, right? Even if whether you're the initiator or you are just a participant in this community, okay? Be mindful around how you are not allowed, how you're continuing to show up, right? But part again of this living with audacity is just, again, it is such a part of our day to day. Like, just, it shouldn't be where we're putting in work, right? The development of this audacious community shouldn't, as I said, be this tactical item that we add to our to-do list. So today I'm going to build an audacious community and it's going to require this. Nope. It should just evolve, and it will evolve as you evolve. And again, if you're part of a community, hold tight, nurture it, right? Stay connected to it, feed it. And the way you do that is by continuing to be a beacon, right? To inspire, to empower, to be an example. That is the way in which we continue to live with audacity. That is the way in which we build our audacious community. If there's anyone who's watching this who's like, Aisha, I want to be part of your audacious community, come along. Membership is unlimited. Just make sure you got good vibes, because I don't do bad vibes. If you watch my bestie podcast, I don't do bad vibes at all. And I'm quick to cut people out with bad vibes. But if you're good vibes and you're all about empowerment, you're all just about curating a space for people to self-actualize, self-discover, become more self-aware, to self-love, to self-care, to just do all the things, this is the community for you. All right? So remember, living with audacity requires us to stay affirmed, confirmed, and purposeful. But it is so important to create and build a community because that is the way in which we stay committed and motivated. So don't think you need to be out here on your own island. Nah, man, invite people to the party. Allow them to pour into you as you pour into others. All right? And with that, I want to remind you to subscribe, like, comment, share. As always, I want to know, what do you want to hear from me? Are there topics that you want me to cover? Because, again, I got tons of things to talk about. I don't come on this podcast not knowing what to talk about. But I also want to make sure that I'm sharing topics and items that you want to hear. So make sure you hit me up. You could DM me. You could send me an email. You could find me. I don't know if we're connected. You could probably just call me. But just do all the things. All right? I want to thank you again for joining another episode of Living with Audacity. Stay incredible. Stay bold. Stay unapologetic.